Fred Tang is the president of the America-China Public Affairs Institute. He joins us live from New York to discuss China-U.S. ties. Fred, of the four pillars of these dialogues, the social and cultural dialogue is really where both countries have the most in common. We saw sports, education. Why is it so important to add this to some of the other issues on the table, like the economy, trade, and security?
Well, it starts with the economy and trade and security, because most countries have a bilateral relationship in diplomacy, military, and trade. But I think the China-U.S. relations is adding this people to people is very important, because this is something that most countries have overlooked.
What has stood out to you so far about the meetings this week? The Vice Premier just spent a few days there in New York City talking and meeting a lot of people.
She certainly is a very eloquent speaker. She knows a lot, and her portfolio includes a lot of things, from education to sports, to health, to many of the areas. And this is a way to develop a more comprehensive relationship. I think the U.S.-China relations is going well. There will always be challenges, but what they are doing is that very few countries have done. Is really the people-to-people relationship, and looking at the culture, looking at education, looking at many of the areas for cooperation. And because at the end of the day, with all of the relationship between two countries is for the people, and that's a really important part of it.
Looking ahead, we saw that U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is leaving for Beijing today. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross was just there a few days ago. How are these meetings paving the way for President Trump's visit to China later this year?
These are all important steps, but President Trump and President Xi, the two of them, has also done a good job. They met face-to-face twice already in the first 6 months of this year, and they will be meeting in probably the first part of November. But in addition to that, they have monthly phone calls with each other, consult with each other on the issues of concern, and they have letters of exchange. And I also heard that they actually address each other by first names. I think that's probably initiated by our President Donald Trump, because he calls President Xi Jinping, and I guess the return is calling him Donald.
Well, Fred, we just heard the Secretary of State tell our correspondent that the DPRK will take center stage at the meeting ahead in Beijing with both presidents. A lot can happen between now and then. How important is that ongoing discussion, given everything that's happening right now on the Korean Peninsula?
The DPRK issue is certainly a very important factor, but there are also many issues involving United States and China. I think that China has been very supportive in that way, and I read today in the news that they're suspending all the companies who's doing business with North Korea in China, meaning deregister them or whatever, so that there will not be companies who's doing business with North Korea, just to eliminate some of the hiccups, like say, oh, there's a Chinese company selling something or buying something from North Korea. They are abiding by the UN sanctions, all of them, and if anything, I think China is the only country doing something about it. The rest of them are just complaining. China also have reiterated during the UN session that they do not want to see, or they will not permit another nuclear power within the Asia region.
All right, Fred Tang in New York, always great to see you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.